The wonders of Adobe Photoshop.
Hello and welcome. In this video, we'll cover making luminosity masks. We'll demonstrate making masks for both the highlights and the shadows of an image, and we'll show how to easily alter them while maintaining real-time feedback by watching the effect on the image. All of our luminosity masks will be created from the same starting point. We're going to hold down the Control and Alt keys and then pressing on the number 2. On a Mac, it's Command Opt and then pressing on 2. This will make a selection based upon luminosity. And for the vast majority of time, this will result in marching ants appearing. Occasionally, when the pixels of an image do not exceed the required brightness threshold, a selection will be made without marching ants appearing. Don't let that confuse you. From this one-of-a-kind luminosity selection, we can generate luminosity masks for light tones, dark tones, and midtones. This video will cover light tones and dark tones. The next video will cover the midtones. If you are new to masking, it may be a good idea to start with our previous video, A Beginner's Guide to Understanding Layer Masks. There is a link to it in the description below. So let's get started with a mask for highlights, which means the action of the layer that the mask is attached to will impact the brightest tones of the image. So to generate the selection, hold the Control key down, the Alt key down, and then press 2. We should see marching ants like this, and this is a selection of the highlights that feathers back through the dark tones, and you'll see that in a moment when a layer mask based on this selection is created. And since we want to bring the highlights down, we will generate, let's do a curves adjustment layer. And now this is the mask that is created by that selection. I'm going to hold the Alt key down on the keyboard and click on the thumbnail so we can see a bigger version of the mask. And we can see it's a pixel by pixel mask. Go back and fit it on screen. Let's go fit here. Okay. In a moment, when I make an adjustment, we're going to see more of the effect happening in these bright areas and less of the effect happening in the dark areas. And if it's pure black, none of the effect of the adjustment will happen. So let's go ahead and view the image. Clicking out here on the eyeball. And let's select the adjustment for the layer. Tug down on the curves. Just tug it down a little bit. We'll go really big so you can see the effect. And more of the impact is happening where the mask has lighter tones, less is happening where the mask has darker tones. Let's say I don't like that the image shadows are darkening. That is fixable. I just need to adjust the mask to make the dark tones of the mask even darker. And here's the neat part. I can make these adjustments to the mask while watching the results in real time as they happen in the image. Let's do that. So as long as on the layer, the mask is outlined, I can run up here to Image, Adjustments, and then anything that is not grayed out, these are things I can do that will impact the mask. So let's grab a Curves Adjustment layer, and I don't want the darkest things in the image to get any darker, so I'm going to move the black point off to the right. So that means that on the mask, the pixels that reside to the left of this point, now a great number of them do, are going to be pure black on the mask, which means the darkening of the image that's happening on this layer adjustment no longer happen to the dark areas, the darkest of black areas on the mask. Before going further, I'd like to take a moment and thank you for watching this video. If you're enjoying it and want to help me out, please give it a thumbs up below. And if you want to see more like this, please subscribe. Thank you very much. Now we'll cover making a mask that allows us to work on the dark tones of an image. And let's use this image here of the Oregon coast. Let's say I wanted to bring down the shadows of this image just a little bit. We'll start by making a selection for the highlights. That's going to be hold the Control key down, the Alt key down, and press number 2. That's going to be Command, Option, press 2 for a Mac. Then we'll choose Select Inverse. So we'll come up here to the drop down for Select and run down to Inverse. Now we'll open a Curves adjustment layer and let's take a look at the mask. So we'll come over here for Curves, Curves adjustment. Let's hold the Alt key down and click on the thumbnail for the mask. And now we can see that the very darkest pixels in the image, these shadows back in here, are actually now white, which means whatever adjustments we make on this layer will have a greater impact in the very deep shadows and less impact as the pixels get brighter. So for example, it's very bright right here. That will have very little impact. Very bright there, very bright lights in the houses. Those are already black. The mask is black there. So whatever we do on this layer won't impact in there, but it'll have a greatest impact in these deep shadows. Let's go ahead and get the adjustment for this layer selected. And if I tug down on the curves, more of the adjustment, the darkening here that we're impacting, the darkening, will impact the shadows more than the lighter tones because of this mask. But again, here's the neat part. If I don't like that it's darkening maybe some of the darker tones and midtones, I can still adjust this mask while looking at the image in real time. So to do that, I'll run up to Image, Adjustments, and we'll do Curves again. And I could say, as I take the black point and move it to the right, it's actually impacting, again, the pixels in the mask. You see how they sort of darken like that. Now I really only want the I'm watching the mask and the image, and I'm really wanting just the deepest parts of the shadows to be impacted. And I'm, in particular right here, I wanted that contrast to be a little bit better in the foreground. So let's say okay. Now we've just kind of picked up just a little bit more contrast in the foreground for a little more eye pull there. Okay, guys, that's it. That's all there is to it. No need to learn about complicated plugins. We have infinitely adjustable mask there. We can fine tune it. We don't have to worry about is it increment 1, increment 2, increment 3. It's just fine tune it until you like the way it looks based upon the feedback you're seeing in the image. After making a luminosity mask, you don't have to adjust tonalities. You could do other things to the image, like a hue or saturation adjustment. And consider that one can feather the mask or run a Gaussian blur on it to further refine the mask. If you have any constructive criticism that will help us all learn, please feel free to leave a comment below. And here's your challenge. Can you figure out how to use these masks to create a luminosity mask for working with midtones? That will be the subject of our next video. See you next time.
Ooh, that was interesting.